Welcome, explorers of the cosmic and the unknown. Well, you are listening to the very first episode of Cosmic Confluence, a space where spirituality, astrology, and the mysteries of existence meet. I'm your host, Sana, and I'm beyond excited to kick off this journey with all of you. Each episode, we'll dive into topics that challenge our perceptions and ignite our curiosity, featuring guests who bring unique perspectives on life, energy, and even the unseen realms. Now, today, we have the incredible Birgitta Visser joining us. She's a soul empowerment coach, divine channel, and light language healer. Now, listeners, Birgitta has traveled the world carrying a wealth of wisdom and life experiences that she channels to help others uncover their true power. And in this debut episode, we'll discuss how we create our lives through the energy we weave, why others are reflections of our inner soul journeys, and how authenticity can lead us to our higher purpose. So, whether you are a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning to explore these ideas, there's something, definitely something here for you. So, let's quickly start on this journey. Birgitta, welcome to the show. And it's an absolute honor to have you as our first guest today.
I know, for the first episode. That is awesome, Sana. Thank you for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Birgitta, you believe that we create our lives regardless of our zodiac signs by weaving our energy into existence. Can you
Yes, we do.
explain what this means and how energy plays a role in shaping our reality?
Well, everything stems from our mind, doesn't it? What we think we create and absolutely weave into our existence. And we weave it into our existence into a tangibility form. And if we realize how powerful our mind is and the negative self-talk we often, we we or how do I say that in English? It's really about the amount of negative self-talk that we do. It's incredible. And then people think, well, why is my life, you know, um, why is my life this way? And it's all about shifting our mindset and shifting our consciousness
Mhm.
and changing the story, changing the pattern. And it's really that simple. Sometimes it's hard because we're so stuck and marooned in a certain situation or an experience that it is hard to get out of. But we
Yeah.
have the power within us to change the outcome. We really, really do. And it's all about taking back our power. Yeah, rather than giving it away and allowing for others to be judgmental and opinionated, and we ingest it, and we become insecure, we have these fears, and what if I'm not doing this right? But it's all about listening to our own inner voice, not the voice of others. Listen to your own voice and listen to what it tells you.
Right, that's absolutely right. And I definitely find this perspective empowering because so many people feel trapped by their astrological charts or
Yes.
predetermined fates. In India, when we talk about birth or marriage, everything is predominantly determined by their astrological charts, the positions in which the planets are aligned and all that.
And the
Uh,
naughty leaves.
yeah, and
I've
it's
been there, done that. They couldn't find mine.
and I don't know, it kind of creates that fear as well. And that fear dictates our actions. It dictates
Yes.
the course of our life. So I think I completely agree that yes, we have more control than we think on ourselves. And I think, we'll definitely explore on the practical steps as well, so that we can harness our energy intentionally.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And can I just say one thing about the zodiac signs, astrology? If you're going to start living your life according to that, what is being said,
Mm.
again, you've given your power away because you're allowing life to control you rather than taking control of your life.
Correct. Absolutely right. Also, Birgitta, you have faced many hardships, from childhood trauma to struggles with self-worth and
Yep.
even dysfunctional relationships.
Yeah.
How did you learn to turn those experiences into wisdom and growth rather than letting them define you?
Yeah, good point. Great question, by the way, Sana. I
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I did allow them to define me for many, many years because it was always like, well, why can't I be happy? What is wrong with me? You know, and I looked at myself and I really just hated myself. Yeah, I used to starve myself and then work like a donkey, work crazy hours. And I was always afraid of hurting people. And so people walked all over me and always trying to please others. And that is again, I gave my power away, but that's just the way, uh, I was conditioned and how I grew up. And I really had to learn to take back my power. And that came, gosh, when did it come? In my
Mm-hmm.
30s. And I think I hit rock bottom like in 2009 after I went to India.
Okay.
Um, and that was a really powerful experience for me. And I really had to dig deep
Mm-hmm.
and figure out how to heal my trauma because I didn't want to go on like that anymore. Only because, I took a whole box of ibuprofens after I saved my ex from a gang in Holland. And I just sought a way out. And that of course is not the way forward. And so my mother said to me, Brigitte, well, why didn't you go see a counselor? Anyhow, I did, but that didn't help me because all the counselors said to me, Brigitte, you're fine. You're strong enough. And so I had to find a holistic healer. And that was the start of my holistic journey. And I started off with Reiki, really beautiful healing technique for me at the time. And it was really about peeling back the layers. And it just didn't, it's not like, it was done in a day. It took me many years and many more experiences. But that's the beauty of life. It's understanding our experiences and embracing them, surrendering to them, and accepting where we are at that moment in time. Yeah, there's something that Guruji said to me, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and I remember this is also in my book. It's like he said, you know what? You can't breathe in the past. You can't breathe in the future. You can only breathe in the present moment. And in the present moment is where you can change and you can create and you can transform. You're never too old to make amends. And I had to learn to define my experiences rather than let them define me. And now it's up to a point where I understand many of the experiences. It doesn't mean that they're always nice,
Mm-hmm.
but I become the observer. Yeah. I become the observer and I breathe through it and I think, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? Why are people trigger points for me? And that's the beauty of it. People are trigger points because they help us evolve, unless you remain in that victim mode, of course. But
Yeah.
what's the point of that? Life is about experiences and leveling up and understanding why we go through things, no matter how traumatic or how challenging it may be. You always have the ability and the capacity to change your story and change the patterning, the programming, the conditioning.
True. That's true. And you often say that people in our lives, they act as mirrors, reflect
Yes.
our soul's inner journey. Uh, how can we distinguish between someone triggering us in a way that helps us grow versus someone who may be harmful to our well-being?
Well, well, both are. You know what? There's no such thing. And honestly, even though I've been through trauma in my childhood, right? We can't, we're not it's not our fault. But when we become an adult, we have to take responsibility for our lives. And there is really no good or bad experience, so to speak, according to, the universe, spirit, my guides. It's
Mhm.
all about, it's just an experience. And if we follow our gut instincts, even when we meet someone, right, Sana? We follow
Yes,
our gut instinct, unless you're a little bit of a donkey like me, right? Because I always try to see the good in people, but I've learned it now. Setting boundaries is really important.
exactly.
And if I don't gel with someone or something seems off, forget
Hmm.
it. I shut the door on it. But regardless if someone is has good intentions or not, it's it's still an experience. And sometimes we have to go through it. So yeah, it can be good or bad as you call it, but it's just still an experience.
I agree.
And I can give you a great example.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, last year when I went through a very narcissistic relationship with someone I hadn't seen for 15 years,
Hmm.
I kicked him out after 3 weeks because I couldn't live like that anymore. I mean, come on, my home was destroyed. He was abusive towards me.
Hmm.
He he was self-medicating. He was just a Jekyll and Hyde and thought he had a chip in his head. And that was controlling his life. And I was like, it was horrendous. I will tell you that. But I had to breathe and take back my power. And I kicked him out of my house.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is not easy. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength. And I know many people go through, challenging experiences within relationships, but you have to, you have to love yourself enough to understand that you are worthy and, you carry value. And yeah, yeah, it is about our self-worth. It really, really was. And of course, after that, I needed to go through a healing journey again, and that is a continuous thing in my life, but it is beautiful because the more we overcome, the more we become, and we unfold, or we blossom from within. We start to understand life more, and I think that is really, really important.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to get out of those scenarios. But I think in hindsight, when we think about those past memories, I think forgiveness is definitely the one of the most
Yes.
powerful expression of self-love. You
Yes.
forgive your past self, that you took that decision, you anyway took that chance, but you definitely came out of it. That's kind of your strength, not weakness.
No, and you're right. It's all about forgiveness and having compassion and also forgiving yourself.
Mm.
Yeah. Rather than beating ourselves up. And a lot of people do that. I used to do it, and you really wither away like a shrinking flower on a wall, so to speak. And and to that I say, don't. Just be gentle with yourself and just hug it out with yourself. And even though you have these what I call demons in our heads, they're not provoking you. They're only crying out for help because they just want to be heard. And it's for you to sit down with them and kind of talk it out with them, and just embrace them so that they become, rather than that darkness in you, they become that light within you, and they get absorbed within your soul.
Lovely, lovely, Birgit. And of course, since we have a time constraint, before we wrap up, if our listeners would wish to connect with you and if they wish to seek wisdom from you, how they can identify, realize, and use their energy, in navigating the ups and downs of their life, how they can do that.
They can find me on my website, Power Soul Healing, on my YouTube under Power Soul Healing, where I do a lot of my light language channeling, and on Instagram under Universal Light Warriors.
Lovely, lovely. We'll have all the details in the show notes for listeners to reach out to you, connect with you, Birgit. And thank you so, so much, for being our first guest. And also, I think your words have been an incredible source of empowerment, inspiration, strength, and wisdom. And I'm really grateful you could help us kick off this journey.
Thank you so much, Sana.
So, listeners, for those of you who are tuning in, remember that power to create your life is within you. It's not the zodiac signs, it's not the charts or the predictions. The energy you put out is the life you weave. And as you move forward, embrace the reflections, set healthy boundaries, as Birgitta rightly said, and seek your most authentic self. So, if you found this conversation resonating with you, definitely do not forget to connect with Birgitta. You can refer to the show notes. And also, thank you so much for joining me on this first step into the cosmos. Don't forget to subscribe to Cosmic Confluence and leave a review if today's conversation resonated with you. Share it with someone you love, and let's grow this cosmic community together. Until next time, keep your mind open, your heart curious, and your spirit ready to explore. Thank you.